Alright, welcome to another video. Today, I'm doing the best midfielders from the Premier League era tier list. So yeah, let's start. First off, we've got Cesc Fabregas. Now, Cesc Fabregas, I feel like, because there's only one GOAT tier, that means there's only going to be one player, because it means greatest of all time, so it can only be one. So, in comparison to the other players, Fabregas was one of the best midfielders at the time in the world. He assisted Iniesta in the 2010 World Cup final, played along that amazing Spain team. I think his best days were at Arsenal, and obviously he went to Barcelona afterwards, and then came back for Chelsea. He was still good at Chelsea, but his best days were behind him. I feel like he was at his best when at a very young age. But yeah, he definitely was a very, very good midfielder. I would probably say he's not quite A, because a lot of good players can be in it. I'd say he's B. But I feel like these it's hard to put any of these players in D or C because they're all really good. But I guess I'm gonna have to. Makelele, I don't know much about Makelele, to be honest. I know he was in that really good Chelsea team, like when they were at their best in like 2005, but it was a bit before my time. I guess he played that sort of Kante holding midfielder role. Obviously a very, very highly rated midfielder. I don't know if he's A. I could be wrong, but I'm going to put him in the same one as Fabregas. I feel like they're both on the same level. Emmanuel Petit. Again, I know he's very highly rated. But he was before my time, so I don't really know too much. I know he was like a holding midfielder for that Arsenal team, with like Tony Adams, and I don't know if he played in the Invincible squad. He probably did. I don't think he did actually. I think it was Vieira and Gilberto Silva, but I think he was a bit before that. He was in the late 90s. But yeah, he was obviously again a really solid player. Is he A? Again, I think he might be a B player. I'll see. Yeah, I'll change things if it's not right. David Silva. Now I feel like David Silva could be an A candidate. I would argue he's probably better than Fabregas because he did it for like throughout the whole of the decade. Fabregas came in and out and wasn't as good when he came back. His best days were at Arsenal. I feel like prime Fabregas is better than prime Silva, but I feel like Silva was a little bit more consistent and showed that quality for a bit longer. So I'm gonna go ahead and put him in A. Christian Eriksen. Christian Eriksen's a player where I feel like if he was at a better club, he would have thrived a bit more. He's obviously at Inter now. I don't really know how well he's doing, to be honest, but yeah, when he was at Tottenham, he was the best midfielder, without a doubt. I think he was by far the best midfielder in their squad. He's obviously Denmark's best player as well. Was he as good as Fabregas? That's hard to say. I don't think he was as good as Fabregas though, and I hate to put him in C, but compared to the other players in this list, I'm going to put him in C. I might change my mind again though. Lampard, I mean, for me, remember there can only be one GOAT, and I don't think he's the GOAT, but he's definitely an A for sure. The amount of goals he scored, for Chelsea in that midfield position, he's one of the all-time prime goal scorers. He was just ridiculous. Obviously, he's got them insane free kicks, insane set-piece specialist. Can hit a flipping shot hard from outside the box. Joe Cole. Now this is a weird one. I feel like Joe Cole's been around the block for ages, right? I don't think he possesses the quality as these other midfielders, but he definitely he was just consistent for a very long time. However, I don't think he ever reached the heights of any of these players. So sorry, Joe Cole, I'm going to put you in D. I'm going to put you in D. Sorry. Juan Mata, I would say Juan Mata's C, because he was like Chelsea's best player in like 2013, and he'd win their Player of the Year. But it wasn't for a long time. He went to Man United, and he was definitely never as good as he was when he was at Chelsea, in my opinion. A very underrated player, though, in my opinion. But I think C, alongside Eriksen, I'd probably say he's better than Eriksen at his best. Well, I don't know, actually. I don't know. I'll think about that later. De Bruyne, A, for sure. Whoops. I'd say De Bruyne's A. Yeah, I mean, I would put him as GOAT if he continues this for a bit longer, but he hasn't been doing it for long enough. I think to be the Premier League midfielder GOAT, you need to be doing it like basically your whole career, and he has quite a long time ahead of him. But in my opinion, he's the best midfielder in the world today for sure. Modric, now in the Prem, I don't know. I feel like he's definitely A standard. But for what he did in the Prem, he obviously earned the move to Real Madrid. But I don't think in the Prem, I would say he's pretty B tier. Matt Letizia, I don't really know. He was again before my time. Obviously, scored some amazing goals I've seen clips of. I can't really provide a fair rating for him, so I'm just going to put him, I don't really know. I'll just guess and put him with C, but that could be completely wrong. If I'm wrong, then, But I think he'd be about C. He didn't really play for England much because he was at a time when there was just so many good players in the England squad, he couldn't really get in. Mesut Ozil. Now, since he's been in the Prem, I don't know. He's been a bit dodgy, hasn't he? In my opinion, Eriksen's been better than Ozil for the Prem. I think he has the quality to be in like maybe even A if he stayed at the standard he was at Real Madrid. He said glimpses at Arsenal, but he's never shown consistency like a lot of these other players. So I'm going to put him in D, and because someone has to go in D, and so far Ozil is a good candidate for D. Michael Carrick, again, he's the complete opposite of Ozil, where he just stays at a decent level throughout his whole career. Not amazing, not bad, just did the job. And unfortunately, when you're being compared to these other types of players, you're going to be in the worst tier for that. Because he just didn't possess the quality as the other players. Like, he's not as good as Lampard, is he? But he remained consistent throughout his whole career. So I respect his graft. Michael Essien. I would say Michael Essien's an A. Played an important role in that Chelsea squad for a long time. Absolutely solid. He scored some banging goals every now and then, but mainly was just a solid defensive fielder and could get the job done. N'Golo Kante. I would say N'Golo Kante's B. Not as good as Essien in that holding midfielder role, I don't think, but I'd say he's on par with Makelele, both similar types of players that would intercept the ball and just be solid and protect their defence at all costs. He obviously won the league with Leicester. He's won the league with Chelsea, I think, in that Conte team, if I'm not wrong. 2017? I think he might have won. Yeah, he won it the year after with Chelsea. So yeah, solid player. I think he's deserving of that B spot. And now, if I'm honest with you, I don't recognise that player, so I don't know. Or just leave him out. I probably recognise his name. I don't know. I think it's Nicky Butt, but I don't know. Vieira. I think Vieira deserves to be in A. Yeah, we'll put him in A. Probably the top of A so far. But yeah, he's obviously probably the best holding midfielder in Prem history. It was a solid part in both the Invincible team and the team that won it in '98. Yeah, not much more to say really. Just a solid defensive midfielder, really big, had a presence, and yeah, I'd say he's at the top of A. If I'm going to rank these, I'd put Lampard, then I'd put De Bruyne. If De Bruyne does it for longer, he's going to overtake all of them, though, in my opinion. I think he's the best, but he just needs more time. That's how I'd order it. I think that's Paul Ince, but I don't know about Paul Ince very much. We'll just stick him in D. I honestly cannot give you anything to say about him. I'm too young for that. The same with Tissier, really, except I know a bit more about Tissier. Pogba. I think Pogba's probably one of. He has the ability that he is. How do I say this? I think he is one of the best midfielders in the world, and he shows it. He just, I don't know. At Man United, he just hasn't. I don't know what it is for him, Man United, but I think that midfielder, if he was in another team, would probably be the best in the world alongside De Bruyne. But not in this Man United team. You've seen it with France in 2018 World Cup. You can see how good he is, and you've seen it at Juventus. But that Pogba at Man United does not show it as much. I think he belongs in C tier. And he's still one of the most valuable players in the world, and everyone knows how good he is, but I don't know. Paul Scholes, I think he should be an A tier, obviously. Don't think you can argue against that. I don't think he's as good as Gerrard and Lampard, but definitely deserves A tier. Roy Keane, again, A tier. One of the most notorious defensive midfielders of all time. Very solid, very hard, and also a great captain for Man United in those early days of Alex Ferguson. Yeah, definitely one of the best of all time in that position in the Premier League. Whether he deserves GOAT status, I'm not sure. Ruud Gullit. Now, if I'm not wrong, I know how good Gullit is, but I don't think he was that great in the Prem. I'm not sure because he was before my time, but we'll just stick him in C. I can't not give you a further analysis than that. Stevie G. Now, for me, out of all these players, I think Gerrard's the best. But the only thing is, he never won the Prem. Which is crazy to say, but I don't know. He did win the Prem. No, he didn't win the Prem. But I do think he is the best. He took that Liverpool team to a new level. He obviously won the Champions League with them in 2005, I think. Obviously scored goals. Great holding midfielder as well. Great passer, great crosser, great leader. I think he's the greatest Prem midfielder of all time, I think. But I think you have to win the league to do. I don't know. Do you have to win the league to be the best of all time? Surely you do. I don't know. We'll go back to it. Xabi Alonso. I'd say he's B. I wouldn't say he's as good as some of those guys in A, but definitely deserve B. Won the Champions League with Liverpool. Great passer of the ball. Yeah. I'd say he's definitely deserving of B. Probably not A, though. Yaya Toure, I would say, is between A and B. I don't know. He did score 20 goals one season, which is mad for a midfielder that plays box to box like him. He wasn't really an attacking midfielder. Obviously, really powerful, good at passing, good at free kicks. Wasn't really bad at anything really. I'm torn between A and B. I think if he did it for longer again, he'd be in A. Maybe. You know what? I'm gonna put Toure in A. I think he deserves it. Yeah. Probably could have done it for longer. But again, if De Bruyne's in there, then I think Toure can be in there. And in my opinion, if De Bruyne stays in the Prem for like, I don't know, three odd more seasons, then he'd be GOAT. And that last player, I just don't know who it is. Sorry. You can comment down if you know who it is, but I don't recognise him. Now let's rank them. Paul Ince, you can go there. I don't know much about you. I would say, yeah, I'd say that's fine. I'd say Joe Cole was probably the best out of those lot when he was at Chelsea. Ozil can go above Carrick. I think he possesses more quality, but Carrick's just more consistent. Probably not as good as a player though. I would argue, nah. I'd say Juan Mata when he was at Chelsea was amazing, and Eriksen did so much for Tottenham when he was out there for quite a few years. I feel like Matt Letitia, from what I've heard of him, should probably go above Pogba, and I'll leave Hullett at the bottom because I'm pretty sure he was past his best days when he was in the Premier League. I could be wrong though. That's my assessment of it. As for this, I think Kante should be above Modric. So this is for Prem, by the way. I think if Modric was in the Prem for longer, he'd be higher. But he didn't. His best days were at Real Madrid. Fabregas was absolutely class at Arsenal. I don't know if he didn't do as much as Kante did though when the league with Leicester and Chelsea, and has been absolutely solid since. Remained consistent. I'd say Makelele above Fabregas. I don't know much about Petit, but I reckon he's probably above Fabregas as well. Alonso, I think Alonso could stay there. I'm not sure about how good Alonso was. Again, he was before my time when he was at Liverpool, but I've heard he was definitely one of their best players alongside Steven Gerrard in the middle of the park. Definitely one of the best passers on this list for sure. Now into A. Right, I would probably say Vieira at the top. I'd put Scholes a bit higher, maybe above De Bruyne for now. Yeah, I'd probably actually put Keane higher. I think Keane should be above Scholes. Yeah, I would say that's fair. Vieira, Lampard, Keane, Scholes. I mean, I think Scholes would be lower than De Bruyne, but De Bruyne again, he needs to do it for longer. The same with Toure, he didn't do it for as long. Essien, he was definitely very solid in that Chelsea team I think he played from like 2005 to 2012, if I'm not wrong, some around that period, and he was solid for him during that time. Scholes, however, he was there for like 20 odd years, and he was just in that team, being the maestro for ages. So I think he does deserve that spot. But Kevin De Bruyne, if he does it for longer again, he'd be at the top of this list. And Gerrard as GOAT, I don't think you can argue against that, to be honest. As for Vieira being the top of A, I think he probably... I mean, it's quite hard to compare because they're two different players, but Lampard was just a goal-scoring machine, and Vieira was just the most solid defensive midfielder of all time. So I think he does deserve that spot. He also won. He was in two amazing but completely different Arsenal teams and shined throughout both of them. So yeah, I think he deserves that A spot. Roy Keane, a great captain as well. Maybe not as good as Gerrard, but yeah. So that's my tier list. If you disagree with it, leave a comment. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe.